Thank you all so much for joining us today. I'm Grace Atherton. I'm WCMA's Communications Director. So happy to have you all here with us for our December member webinar. This month, we are focused, as you can see, on upcoming industry education for dairy processors and their employees. So we will have a great lineup of experts here from WCMA and our partner organizations today to talk with you about the exciting upcoming opportunities they have in the year ahead. But to start, I want to give just a couple of quick housekeeping reminders that I'm sure everyone is familiar with by now from many Zoom meetings. Please make sure to keep yourselves muted on the call when you are not speaking. We will have time for questions at the end of the webinar, and you can always drop them in the chat as well. But if you're not speaking, please keep your mics muted so we can avoid interruptions. This webinar will also be recorded, and we'll be sending out a link to that recording as well as a list of resources and contact information after the webinar today, likely by the end of the week, so that you will have all that information in one place, easy to find. So if you miss something, if you need someone's contact information, we'll have it up periodically throughout the webinar, but don't worry about taking it down too fast, because we will send that out after the fact as well. So you've got it on hand, easy access. As I mentioned, we'll have Q&A at the end. If you have any questions before then that come up, you're welcome to drop those in the chat anytime, and we will make sure that we get to those. If we don't have time to get to any questions today, we will make sure to pose those for our presenters afterward and send the answers along with our follow-up email, so we can make sure we get you some answers no matter what. So with that, we can go ahead and get started. A quick review of our agenda. We'll have presenters today joining us from the Center for Dairy Research, Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin, the University of Wisconsin River Falls, and WCMA. We'll go through a whole wealth of training opportunities that are available to you and your employees in the coming year, and then we'll get into our questions before we close out our session. So we'll go ahead and start with Andrea Miller from the Center for Dairy Research. She's going to walk us through all of their exciting offerings coming up in the next year. Andrea.
Yeah, thank you, Grace. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. The first thing, I have three main things to cover today. The first main thing is I wanted to kind of highlight and show our new training page. So Grace is going to click on the top. So what you're seeing right now is the main cdr.wisc.edu website. And then our three main buckets at the top, you can click on training. So we just updated this portion of our website. When Grace scrolls down, you're going to see there's a image icon and a button now for each short course page. So we do have the courses categorized. You're going to see all the orange is cheese, of course. So we have a lot of cheese courses. And then you're going to see butter identified. You're going to see the dairy ingredient courses identified in green, butter in yellow, and then our quality safety in red. So we just did that visually to kind of break it up a little bit. But the key thing here is that each image icon, when you click on it, is its own page. So previously, we used to have it on our website where it would be in order of the course taking place. And then when the course was over, it would be off the website and you couldn't see anything about the course or any information or that it even existed. So now all of these pages will exist regardless if there's a course up for registration. And then within each page, we wanted to indicate the description of the course, the objectives, so what folks can plan to learn after taking the course. We have links to all of the course instructors. That's noted by the different color. Those are all links to their profile pages on our website. So if you have specific questions in advance that you wanted to reach out. And then of course we wanted to, add some of the other stuff. Coming onto UW-Madison campus can be a little tricky. So we added parking information and lodging information around campus. And then the option to go back to the full set of short courses. So we're hoping this update helps people kind of know when the courses are taking place, a little bit more about the course, and then just that they're always up and available to view. So a few more overview things. Right now we have all of our 2024 courses scheduled. So that's very exciting. We have the main image page that you're seeing right now with all the dates updated. If it's open for registration, you'll see a register now option. And so that means that there's going to be a link right in that page where you can register. We do have to kind of, based on our fiscal year, we have to kind of adjust registration. So then any courses after July, the registration will open July 2nd. So that's why you see that, but all the dates are there so folks can save the dates for those. So again, take a look. You can see all the courses that we have. And again, we have 2024 scheduled out. So you can save in your calendar for those dates as well. A couple things I wanted to mention with the cheese making courses in particular. You'll see the second image icon right there is cheese making fundamentals. So that course, essentially the description is the same and the objectives are the same, but there's a little bit of a difference in terms of in-person versus self-study. But cheese making fundamentals has its own page. We have settled on keeping an option for cheese making fundamentals online self-study. So when I say online self-study, it's not technically on demand, but you'll have a 3-month window for start and finish and access to the online portal. So that's what that means. So we've settled on keeping in-person options for cheesemaking fundamentals, as well as online self-study options. Same thing for dairy ingredient fundamentals. We're offering an in-person option and a self-study online option for those 2 main courses. Butter making fundamentals right now is solely online. And then everything else is in person. So I just wanted to highlight that with that specific course. The other feature with cheesemaking fundamentals in general is we are also starting to offer that in Spanish, solely in Spanish. So we have about 3 instructors that fluently speak Spanish, and so they conduct the course. So right now that course does have its own page. We just don't have any dates quite yet. And so folks can just reach out to us and we'll keep them in mind when we have all that scheduled, but we should be doing that in the next couple of weeks, getting that sorted out. Okay, so then the last thing with the cheese making courses that I wanted to highlight are our advanced cheese making courses. So this was new for 2023, and I'm happy to say we made it through. Creating 3 new courses was a lot, but it was well worth it. We took our advanced cheese technology, if you all remember that, that was 5 days, 4 days lecture and 1 day hands-on of all the cheeses. And we broke those up into a little bit more manageable 3-day courses specific to cheese variety. So we have the advanced cheese making American varieties that will take place early May each year. We have Italian, which will take place kind of middle of fall each year. And then we have artisan, which will take place in October of each year. So those courses are jam-packed and take a deep dive into those cheese varieties. And so we'll continue that annually, kind of following that pattern annually. So those have been really fun to do. Let's see. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I think, Grace, you can scroll down to the bottom of this page and we have our contacts listed. Here we go. So we have our dairy foods trainer who hasn't quite been here a year yet, but Lindsay O'Brien is on board with us and she's great. If you have any questions on content or if you should be taking which course over the other or anything like that, she's a good person to reach out to. Our events coordinator, Heather, does everything with registration and online portals, so she can take care of that. And then I'm the main contact for folks that want to know about future dates, private training options, any other like non-technical logistical stuff with the short courses. I'm the main contact for that. And then lastly, since we're down here at the footer, so this footer, the dark blue area shows up, that's just the footer of our website in general. If you look in the center there and click on sign up, that's how you can get our regular email subscriptions. And so you can see there's 3 options at the bottom. You can get the Dairy Pipeline quarterly newsletter sent to you. You can get updates on short courses and training, or you can get information about DBIA. So it's all optional. You can click whichever one you want. We try not to really bombard you, but at least give you some regular communication about those 3 topics. So that's a pretty easy way, and you can pass that along to other people too that might want to keep an eye out on what's available for, in particular, short courses and training that we have coming up. Otherwise, unless there's any questions, Grace, I think I covered my portion.
All right, that sounds wonderful. I love this new website. I love the new color coding and easy, clear labeling. It's fantastic. It's a really great resource.
Yeah, thank you.
So glad to have that, and glad to have CDR as this wonderful educational partner. We do have one quick question in the chat that I see that I think you can probably answer quickly, Andrea, before we move on. Is the Spanish Fundamentals course also available for self-study?
Yes, great question, Bob. So we are working on ideally rolling out both. So we are looking at having an in-person option and a self-study option as well. So I'm hoping within the next couple weeks we can have a clear identifier on that in terms of dates. So it would follow the similar pattern where we would have kind of like a 3-month course window. So there would be a start and an end, but it's within that 3 months, it's kind of self-study at your own pace. So that's going to be a nice option. One of the things that we're considering for the self-study option is to actually offer some live check-ins during that 3-month period. With our instructors who speak Spanish. And so it might be a good way to kind of get a little bit more connection for that audience. So that's one of the things that we're looking at being a little bit different than the original course. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Great information.
You're welcome.
All right. Next, we will turn over to our friends at Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin. We have Adam Brock here to give us a rundown of what they're looking at in the year ahead for industry education. Adam, you want to take it away?
Sure. Thanks, Grace. Let me pull up my screen share here. So my conversation will probably not be as exciting as Andrea and Rueben, simply because we tend to offer very similar courses from year to year, identifying some gaps in the industry. So, but looking ahead to 2024, we always have a food safety fundamentals series. So we've always had, prerequisite programs for people just getting into the industry, HACCP and advanced HACCP. And we generally like to do that in the spring. So it'll be March when you see that course come around. Location to be determined, but we do move around the state. We used to offer this one a little bit earlier in February, and we even tried January one year, but January and February in Wisconsin don't bode so well for travel. So we have moved back to March. Preventive controls for human food. We're on year number, surprisingly, from the very first one I have in our records, we're on year number 9.5 coming up this year. Predecessors, Marianne Smikowski and Matt Matheson had taught that, but I was amazed that we're on year number 9 already of this. So again, that's offered. Generally, we do the 2.5-day course, and we plan to continue that for this year. Dairy product labeling, that will be back again. We might add on, I've been working with a couple people in industry to see if we can get an add-on to go over some of the Wisconsin regulations. Many of you have attended that course in the past, and if not, I've even had some packaging individuals attend the course, so to better understand dairy product labeling. And then, yes, that's food defense, folks, not food deference. I apologize. That's a new course. We developed it this year. No. But we've again offered this for a couple years and continue to see people request it. So that's our March through June. And then for the group, we're not, some things under consideration. We always think about courses and we get feedback from industry. As many of you know, the food defense rule is rolling out, and there has been food traceability rule is rolling out. There has been some reference and some comments from FDA that they may look at something similar to the PCQI course for that. No details yet, but that has been commented on. So you may see something coming in the future very similar to PCQI or intentional adulteration training. And then I don't know, this one has been under consideration for a while because I keep getting the comments, as I'm sure CDR and UW River Falls get. Is there an easy PMO to digest? And the answer is no. I mean, we keep getting questions on this. If you look in the history, there was another university outside of the state that tried to do a PMO 101 type course. And to my knowledge, it's not offered anymore. So it may be one where we get who knows, 3 or 4 organizations to get together to create a course. But as industry moves forward, that's a really interesting regulation and set of rules to digest. So maybe a streamlined version might be a need for industry. But for now, March, April, May, and June are set. All the courses are on, if you look in the lower right-hand corner, wisconsindairy.org, dairy companies, food safety, and registration will be available starting in January. So that's it. That's your excitement for me for today. And let's move on with our next speaker as we transition to WCMA.
Adam, that was wonderful. You're doing my job for me today. Man, I'll just kick back and listen to you. We do have WCMA coming up next here. Adam is correct. We are very excited to welcome our very own Senior Director of Programs and Policy, Rebekah Sweeney, who is going to detail some really exciting brand new training offerings that we are actually just kickstarting today, which is very fun. So Rebekah, go ahead. I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, you'll have to forgive me, everyone, because I'm pretty amped up right now. On the other side of this wall over here, we have 18 of the industry's safety leaders who are engaging in a brand new program that we call WCMA Train the Safety Trainer. And this course has been developed alongside WCMA's launch of its health and safety group last year, which some folks may know came about because of OSHA's local emphasis program for food manufacturers. Very unfortunately, we saw sort of an increase in incidents in food manufacturing plants that triggered additional look from regulators. And so for about a year and a half now, we've had a really engaged group of people from industry meeting on a quarterly basis to talk about some of the best practices that dairy manufacturers can engage in when it comes to safety and what needs there are. And very clearly, they identified one area being safety. Safety training for industry was lacking. There are certainly broad safety trainings available through technical colleges, but nothing that's really tailored to dairy manufacturers specifically. So WCMA's Train the Safety Trainer course is designed to help build an individual's skills as a trainer and enhance their organization's safety culture overall. And as I said, it's designed with input from our health and safety group to help dairy processors understand the knowledge and skills and strategies they need to effectively communicate both safety expectations and the protocols for maximum compliance. Health and safety group members also wanted to make sure that there was a bit of a focus in this class on that LEP. So all of the examples given in this class are specific to those areas of emphasis, and they are dairy industry specific. The course, I can tell you, is very interactive. Everybody's engaged. There's a lot of small group activity that's happening and quite a bit of introspection in the front half of this class. And right now, the second half of this class, the afternoon portion, they're really focused on building a program that will be effective in making sure that people not only hear the information, but retain it and then use it on a day-to-day basis, and make sure that those safety protocols and practices are actually taken to heart and used day to day. Upon completion of this kind of a course, participants are going to be able to define training and facilitation in a workplace and conduct a training needs assessment. They're going to be able to evaluate their training programs for clarity and for efficacy, and understand a variety of presentation tools and methods. It's really important that those of us who are engaging in training for our plants also understand adult learning principles, right? We all learn in different ways. Some of us need to hear it, some of us need to see it, some of us need to actually engage in it. And a good safety training program will employ all of those tactics to make sure that everyone is understanding the information. And our participants in this class will also develop their vocal and verbal and visual skills. Not all of us go into these jobs knowing how to create a killer PowerPoint. Certainly, I am not one of those people, as you can see from the slide in front of you right now. But the goal of this training is to make sure that we're enhancing those safety training practices in place in all of our plants. I'm excited that this training can be offered at, I think, a very low cost. It's $249 for the full day. It does result in continuing education credits with Chippewa Valley Technical College and a certificate that every participant can keep on file, both for themselves, but also for their employers. The next time OSHA comes and says, what have you been doing lately to enhance your safety training? We're going to be able to offer that as well. I'm so excited about the people who are engaging in this training as well. We have 18 participants from 16 different plants, and they're all getting along famously. And I want you to know that in addition to today's offering, we will be offering an online version of this class on January 30th. We want to make sure that all of WCMA's trainings are accessible not only to people who are sort of in the tri-state area and within a day's drive of Madison, but also to folks who are operating plants across the country. So I want to encourage people to consider signing up now for that January 30th training. I think we have about 10 spaces still available in that class right now. And I also want to tell you that beyond Train the Safety Trainer, we're offering a class called Basic Safety Training for Dairy Processors. Next slide, please, Grace. This is sort of an all call for industry. It is different because it's not about how you can effectively train others. It's about learning the information yourself. And the reality is that in some of our plants, particularly small to mid-sized plants, you may not have someone who is 100% dedicated to safety. And you may need to supplement what they're able to do on their own as perhaps HR plus safety, or who knows, graphic design and safety, or food safety and employee safety with an outside trainer. And so this class is designed to be that for all of us in industry. We are offering both in-person and online versions of this class 3 times each throughout the year ahead. You'll see on your screen there that we will join together in person in Madison in April, June, and October. And we will join together online in February, May, and September. So lots of opportunities for you to send your staff. This is a much cheaper training because we wanted it to be accessible to all. It's very important that for the safety of your workforce, that they understand the basic principles of how to operate safely in a plant. It's also very important that OSHA sees that you are executing respected trainings. So having an outside trainer like Chippewa Valley Technical College spend the day with your staff and go through, whether it be in person or online, sort of holistic look at things like machine guarding, lockout, tagout, prevention of slips, trips, and falls, the whole gamut. Every LEP issue area will be covered in this training. We have lots more information on our website and encourage you to consider this as part of your training plans for 2024. and to give us feedback on other areas in which we could supplement what you're offering your employees. Finally, I want to encourage you to consider having your staff engage in our health and safety group, because these trainings will morph and we will grow our training offerings over time. This is just the beginning for us in the safety sphere. And with that, I want to kick it over to my dear friend and colleague, Sara Schmidt, who is going to be talking a little bit about a WCMA training that's, well, several WCMA trainings that are a bit tried and true.
All right, thanks, Rebekah, and hello, everyone. As Becky said, I'm Sara Schmidt, and I serve as WCMA's membership director. I've been with the association about 5 years, and a big part of my role with WCMA is member engagement. One way that our members do engage with WCMA is through our training offerings. So today I'm happy to be joining you all to share a look at our upcoming training offerings for 2024. You've already heard from some of our partners about some very technical training opportunities, but I want to pivot a bit and talk about some courses that WCMA has available to help develop this softer skill set, specifically leadership skills. We know that in this labor market, it's super important to train employees to be leaders within their organizations, and investing time and resources into developing these soft skills helps boost both employee retention and staff productivity. So I want to walk you through a few of our programs that we've developed in partnership with our members, which have really grown exponentially in recent years. Next slide, Grace. So first up, I want to cover WCMA Frontline Leadership Training. This offering is designed for anyone in the dairy processing industry, meaning both suppliers as well as dairy processors, manufacturers, and marketers. The course is geared specifically towards dairy processing and does provide industry-specific examples and case studies tailored to dairy processing employees. The training is great whether you are new to a supervisory role or experienced as a manager, because we know that some of our frontline supervisors that have been doing their jobs for 5 or 10 years experience burnout. And it's super helpful for them to refresh these skills, but also to talk about some new challenges with today's workforce, millennial, Gen Z, and all of the unique differences in between. So these courses are perfect for those managing a small team. And in many cases, folks are managing a small department. Maybe they're managing a single team on a single shift. But typically, these frontline leaders would not be managing an entire shift or an entire facility. Next slide, Grace. So participants can expect from Frontline Leadership a full day affordable learning option. All of the virtual offerings for these classes are priced at $135 and are accessible to members across the US. For those that prefer an in-person option, we do offer those here in Madison, Wisconsin at a slightly higher cost, $159 per person, but that does include coffee in the morning, snacks, networking lunch for all participants. We're really breaking even on these courses. We try to keep them a pretty low cost. Class sizes are small, as I mentioned. We cap them at about 25 attendees, allowing the opportunity for everyone to speak and engage with both the training provider and with each other through the day. And at the end of class, we expect that attendees would leave with something they expect to change, something they want to do differently for themselves, execute that back at their plant, and provide performance feedback to their teams in a really collaborative way. Next slide, Grace. So we offer 3 different classes within the series, and they're all offered a la carte, so you can take them in any order you wish, or you can decide to enroll in all 3 cases that we call like a track. So I will say most people opt to register for all 3 in one shot, but welcome to enroll a la carte as well. So this winter and spring, we're offering 2 separate fully virtual rounds. As you can see here, the dates, January, February, and then April. We do skip March due to our contest and expo happening in the spring. Part A is focused on essential leadership skills, and we ask participants to look inward and assess their opportunities to grow. They'll really think about how they are functioning in a workplace, and will walk away with tools to become a better leader. Part B focuses on boosting staff performance and giving feedback to their teams in a productive way that's really going to get them some results. And part C is the third and final offering of these tracks, and advances on the concepts from A and B, but really focuses on cultivating a team. So this course is focused on retention strategies for these frontline supervisors. Next slide, Grace. So then in the fall, we are already booked out that far into the spring of 25, actually. But in the fall, we will be offering these same classes, and we'll offer them again in 2 virtual tracks, but also an in-person track will return in the fall here in Madison at WCMA's new training space. I do want to share that these classes fill pretty quickly, so I encourage anyone interested in participating to act soon to secure a spot in spring and in the fall. Next slide, Grace. So over the past 6 years, we have trained over 1,000 industry employees through all 3 parts of frontline leadership. After each of these classes, we ask the participants to share their feedback, ways to improve, and we do that through survey, both in person and online. And we read them all. We crunch the numbers, and the cumulative evaluation for all of these is 9.6 out of 10, I'm happy to say. So people are really walking away with some quality tools and materials up to the end, and we're happy to keep expanding this offering every year. So as I said, frontline leadership is really geared for new or experienced small team managers, but we also have another level of training for leaders that are just above this group called advanced leadership. Next slide, Grace. Thank you. So this is again designed to be dairy industry specific, but we also welcome suppliers to this as well. And this really focuses in on real world problems and examples that are most relevant to the dairy industry. The training is best suited for those in mid-level management and those who oversee a really significant number of staff. So these folks aren't necessarily overseeing like major business decisions or signing paychecks, but they are the people that are making decisions that impact their teams on a daily basis. And the majority will have some management experience going into this course. Next slide. So similar to frontline leadership, we try our best to keep these super affordable. Advanced leadership is offered as a series of 3 classes over a 5-month window. And the cost for that is $549 for a fully virtual series. The class size is a little bit more limited here. A cohort of 20 students moves through the full series, and participants are asked to move through this together to foster networking and connection with other leaders in industry. So throughout the series, participants are tasked with developing their own action plan to implement back at their facilities and are asked to report back to the group on their progress throughout that 5-month span. I also want to note a unique feature of this series, which is guest speakers. So generally we have presidents or CEOs of dairy manufacturing companies join us for at least 2 of these courses to share in their experiences and their challenges that they face throughout their career and to field questions from the group. And next slide, Grace. So here's a quick look at the next offering, which will begin in the fall of 2024. So that's a ways off, but as I mentioned, these do tend to fill pretty quick. So wanted to share a look at that. This will start in September of 2024 and wrap in January of 2025. And next slide, Grace. So finally, I've got one other special offering that I want to touch on called Next Step Leadership. And this is really complementary to the frontline leadership and advanced leadership offerings. This is held only once a year, and it's designed for previous participants of frontline and advanced leadership or those with pretty significant management experience. Participants should really have the basics of leadership before coming into this one. The course is really a deep dive on a single important or hot topic at the time. And this year we'll be focusing on diversity, equity, and inclusion strategies in our plants. So the workforce is really different than it's been in the past. And sometimes that means we're working with a variety of languages or cultures together. So it's really important that these leaders remain open to this changing workforce and that they're fostering a welcoming environment within their team. So that's the focus of this. Next slide, Grace. So this class will be held one day on May 23rd, a full day class, fully virtual. And yeah, that's the overview. I know that was sort of a lot of words, so I appreciate your time today and joining us. And please don't hesitate to reach out to Rebekah or I on any of these trainings that we touched on today, or visit us at wischeesemakers.org for any of our training details and registration options. Grace will be sharing her contact info following today's presentation. And again, we encourage you to reach out at any time. Back to Grace or Rueben.
I'll take it. Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you, Rebekah. That was wonderfully informative. And we have so many offerings coming up next year. It's always fun for me to go back through that list and see just how many different training opportunities WCMA has in the coming year. and into 2025 even. So next up, we will toss it over to Rueben Nilsson. This is a very exciting one, I think, because Rueben is new to the UW River Falls, taking over the dairy pilot plant there. And we're looking forward, Rueben, to having you on board in this part of the industry again, and hearing about what kind of educational opportunities you're looking at UW River Falls in the year ahead. Take it away.
All right, thank you very much. And good afternoon, everybody. So I am the recently hired dairy pilot plant manager here in River Falls. So to kind of start things off, it's a little off topic, but I did want to cover the renovation project, which is nearing completion after a little over 5 years of our new Wittrick Family Grassland Dairy Center of Excellence. It's nearing completion. We hope to be running milk in January. Did a lot of work over the course of the last several years, enlarging our manufacturing area, adding some raw processing space, so we can separate, homogenize, do different blends, standardizations of incoming milk, improving the automation of our ice cream production line. We've added some additional vat capacity in the form of closed ACV mini vat. As you can see in the picture, we still have our old tried and true rectangular vat, added a couple round vats and a copper line vat for doing some alpine styles, which I'm pretty excited about. Also a processed cheese cooker, and we've added a membrane skid, so we will be able to support the industry with that additional capacity, and hopefully over the years we'll be expanding our education as well. So my team here in River Falls is pretty small. We oversee the pilot plant, we coordinate the short courses, and then over the course of the year, we're also educating roughly 20 to 30 student employees. And then there is our new logo, the Falcon Creamery. So what we're looking to do in 2024 is very closely follow what we did in 2023. We're currently finalizing dates with our speakers. So we will be putting up our 2024 calendar as soon as possible at the beginning of January. I know we've been getting a lot of emails in the last month from folks looking for registration information. At the bottom of the slide, dpt@uwrf.edu. That is dairy process team. Going to put some words to the acronym. We'll be doing our HACCP workshop. That's 2.5-day workshop that we conduct normally the second week of February. I believe I have our instructors lined up for that. But then pasteurization short course, the 2-day course. Traditionally, we've held that the last week of February and again the third week of September. And then it's a little bit of an overview of topics covered. From 101, what is a pasteurizer? What does it look like? Why do we pasteurize? Dairy sanitation, getting into the regulatory side, including sealing and verification. And then our cheesemaker short course is a 5-day course. Looking to conduct that again, so second week of March and then the last week of September for the fall session, covering again a wide range of topics, which I'm sure you can all read. I don't need to list those off, but throw that up. We have the website for the dairy processing short courses at the top. Again, you can always email that dpt@uwrf.edu. And then I didn't have a slide for it, but I did also want to throw out there that at River Falls, we also do a lot of on-farm dairy education out at our lab farm. We have short courses that an intensive residential program. They also do a lot of animal handling, animal welfare type short courses. Information's available on the UWRF website for those. But back to you, Grace. Thank you very much.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much, Rueben. We're so excited to see all of those wonderful opportunities and the new plant come to fruition. That's been a long time coming, and it'll be great to have that up and running and open for all sorts of learning to take place. I see we have one question in the chat, so we'll start off our Q&A with this question here from Bob. I think this is for Rueben. On the theme, is there any thought of offering a pasteurization short course in Spanish? Rueben, do you want to start off and maybe take that one? And Andrea, Adam, if you have thoughts on that as well, feel free to jump in.
Yeah, that is on our priority list. We do have a faculty member here who is bilingual, and I've just started talking to him about putting together that program in Spanish. So it'll probably take us a while to develop. So unfortunately, I don't think we'll make that happen in 2024, but yeah, I think dairy sanitation and pasteurization are a couple of the Spanish language courses we're looking at offering in Spanish.
Great, wonderful. Okay. With that, I think we will go ahead and answer a couple of questions that came in advance of today's webinar. Again, if you think of any other questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, but we'll keep going on the same theme here. We've talked a little bit about recommendations for industry-specific trainings available in Spanish and Hmong. Rebekah, I know we have possibly some other options on the WCMA side as well, so I want to give you a chance to talk about those.
We do. So I hear about this need probably weekly, right? So we know that we have many members who have significant populations of their workforce who did not speak English as their first language. And I think that the two largest populations of non-native English speakers are probably those who speak Spanish and those who speak Hmong. But we do also have, I'll say, a rainbow of other languages being spoken in our dairy processing plants, even in Wisconsin alone, but certainly when you take a look at nationwide what the data is, we have a diverse workforce, which is exciting. It also presents us the opportunity to find ways to reach those people in effective ways. One thing that WCMA has done within the past year is translate some onboarding videos. We created a series of 5 onboarding videos that are designed to be presented to new employees within the first week or first month of their employment. We've translated those both into Spanish and Hmong. And they importantly are both dubbed in that language, but also we've included words on the screen because we also know that people learn in different ways, and some are better with hearing the language and some are better with reading the language. So that's something that we want to highlight. Those videos are available actually to all in industry at whizcheesemakers.org. You can simply download them. You can access them from our website at any time. In addition to that, I wanted to put in a plug for some of the resources that the Innovation Center for U.S. Dairy have available. I'm going to enter in the chat right now, and I'm sure in our follow-up we can include a link to this. The Innovation Center has created a fairly significant page with Spanish language tools. I don't think that they have translated a lot of things into Hmong yet, but I do think that if you have a lot of Spanish speakers in your plant, you should familiarize yourself with that website that I just dropped into the chat. I know that some of my colleagues also have thoughts on this, so maybe I can hand it over to Andrea.
Sounds
Andrea, I
good.
know you're offering a lot of Spanish resources as well now with your incredible staff.
Yeah, and I'm sitting too still apparently. There we go. My light went off. I was just typing something in the chat. I was going to share a link. I have a couple things. If I can type and talk at the same time. Okay, so I don't know if Grace, if you want to pull up that link that I just sent while I'm talking, but so I had mentioned we're looking at the in-person and self-study of our cheesemaking fundamentals. Our next, once we kind of get through the course that we're looking at, is our certificate in dairy processing, which is traditionally an online course anyway. So that was another one that we're looking at transitioning over to offer in both languages. And then the only other option I have, and I don't know if this is the same Bob I've been working with, but we have our pasteurization course at UW-Madison is through the food science department. And so that doesn't come specifically through CDR, but the instructor there, Scott Rankin, he works with a translator for that pasteurization course. So that is an option, and he's willing to work with industry folks if they'd like to offer something for their employees. And then he is able to do the pasteurization exam in Spanish as well. So that could be helpful. The link that I just sent is actually a training series for farm owners and managers and supervisors that may have Spanish speaking employees, where they could take a course to just help facilitate with some of the communication in Spanish. So you actually would learn some vocabulary and different ways to communicate in Spanish with your employees. So that's kind of, it's a different audience. But this is through the Farm and Industry short course group and UW Extension. So I don't know, Rueben, I don't know if you've had any experience with this at all. But this is just a different option. And again, it's online as well. So that might be something interesting for folks that would like to just, meet their employees at a different level.
Final note on this, we just want you to know that we do hear the desire for these classes in Spanish and Hmong and other languages as well. And it's important for our organizations to understand, because we do have limited resources and limited staff, what are the most critically important classes to be offering in these languages. Because when we dedicate ourselves to this effort, it's not insignificant. And then we want to make sure that we have a critical mass of people joining in those classes after they're offered, right? It's really important that if we build something, people come to it, right? Wanting it is important to communicate, and then engaging in it is much appreciated as well. Back to you, I think, Grace.
All right, thank you, Rebekah. So our next question here that came in before our webinar is a very good one. We're trying to find some guidance. Maybe it's a consultant, maybe a training to inform our sustainability work. Any thoughts on where we should look? Rebekah, I think this is another good one for you.
Well, and I would say that resources are significant here. Sustainability is a really big umbrella. And WCMA is engaging in conversations about how we can best support our members as they navigate the sustainability network, right? Where they choose to put their own resources and how they engage in that. So I do want to just put in a light preview that you will see WCMA rolling out more sustainability resources to its members in 2024. We're not quite ready to lay out that map for you today, but soon. And so I want you to stay engaged with WCMA and watch for more information in January and February, likely from our colleague and friend Danica Nilsson here at WCMA. In addition, I want you to know that sometimes it's also about, engaging in that consultant. And in that case, it's just about money, right? And so we do have some grants programs that are available. In Wisconsin, the Department of Ag, Trade, and Consumer Protection does have a grant specifically for dairy processors. And also together with our friends at the Center for Dairy Research, WCMA offers grants through the Dairy Business Innovation Alliance. And there may be opportunities with either of those grants to help offset some of the costs of sustainability work, some education and training around sustainability initiatives. So whoever has that question, I'd love to connect with you directly and also connect you with our colleague Danica. Any other thoughts from other speakers? But I would just say stay tuned on this one and stay in touch.
All right. I don't see anyone else immediately jumping in on that one. So I think we can go ahead and move to our next one. I want to make sure we get done on time as well. Oh, this is a good one too. It's hard to make room in our budget for training. Any resources to share?
Well, those two
Who wants to
grants,
jump in?
again,
Yep, grants.
those two grants are available. The other thing I would say is, you know, what you heard Sara say earlier was that, you know, we're really focused on making sure that these training programs that we're offering through WCMA are accessible, and they're at a price point that you don't have to stress too much about sending people. Our leadership trainings are right around, you know, $135 to $150. Our safety trainings are anywhere between about $149 for those basic programs to somewhere in the you know, between $200 and $250 for the higher level train the safety trainer program. So we're trying to keep costs way down. And I know that's true with our partners as well. Nobody's making a lot of money off these trainings. I don't even know if anybody is, but what we're doing is we're trying to enrich the industry and make sure that your businesses are stable and strong and poised for growth.
I would add to that, Rebekah. Yes, I know everybody's trying to keep it low cost, and DFW especially has worked over the years with partners to do this. But in addition to this, you know, I think Rebekah or somebody had put the Innovation Center. They have some tools as well that you can reference. The Safe Cheesemaking Hub is another one that's a library of resources. So dairy, to be pretty blunt, is got a heck of a lot of resources, right? And we just need to find them. So I think WCMA or CDR or UW Referrals or DFW, if you come and ask for resources, we can generally get you the resources. And then if something's missing, talk to us. We're all happy to get some more resources to you when available. And special call out to Bob. Thank you for asking all these wonderful questions today.
Bob gets extra bonus points. We'll put him on the big board.
Agreed. One other free resource that I want to mention that it's maybe a little on the nose, but these monthly WCMA webinars, these are open to members only, and they're absolutely free. There is no additional cost to participate in these. We keep information going out about these monthly webinars in our e-newsletter each week. So if you're not getting that each Tuesday, please reach out and we can absolutely make sure that's getting to your inbox. So you have information on future webinars. We cover a different topic every month, and topics have ranged from trainings and upcoming educational opportunities to current dairy research to marketing and communications to food safety topics to all sorts of different interest areas. So we always welcome more of those topics. If there's something that you'd really like to see in one of these free hour-long webinars, please share that with us anytime, and we're more than happy to take that feedback and hopefully make it a reality for you. But these are another free resource that WCMA offers, so that if it's hard to make room in that budget for training sessions, perhaps you're not able to go to one of those paid opportunities, we have these free monthly ones wherever you want to participate from. You can do them from your office, do them from home, wherever you might be at the moment. You can join in on one of these live webinars. So that's another free resource that's out there as well. All right, I believe this is our last question, and this is a good one and one that we will send a lot more information about in our follow-up email by the end of the week. Is there a website I can bookmark that has all this information in one spot? The short answer is there are many. WCMA's website, we have an events page that's periodically updated where we try to keep all of these industry partner trainings up to date. We will also share links to Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin's website. You saw CDR's website during Andrea's presentation, UW River Falls website. When those courses are live, they typically keep those updated as well. So is there a website I can bookmark? Yes, and we will make sure to share those in our follow-up email so you have all of those in an easy to find spot. I think that is all of
their own
questions.
horn. Grace won't toot her own horn,
ahead.
but if you're not subscribed to WCMA newsletters, every single week we have a rundown of all of the trainings that are upcoming
true.
in the month or two ahead. So at any given time, you can take a look at that Tuesday newsletter. It went out minutes before this webinar started. Grace has a big day today. She's doing a lot of things. But if you're not signed up, please let us know so that we can get you signed up and make sure that you're seeing that on a weekly basis.
That's a good point. Thank you. So I think that is all of the questions that I'm seeing. I'm not seeing any more in the chat, and these are all of the questions we received in advance. So before we close things out today, it's 1:57, so we'll get you out in just a couple of minutes early. But I wanted to make sure you were all aware of our next WCMA free webinar. Next month, January 9th at 1 p.m. Central, we will cover research done recently by Chuck Nicholson of UW-Madison on dairy export barriers. You may have seen in previous months, earlier this year, Chuck was seeking input and feedback from dairy processors on what sorts of barriers they were finding in their export efforts. And he has completed that research and is now ready to share some details and some findings. So he's going to join us in January to give a nice little recap of all of that research that he's done into those export barriers. So be sure to sign up for that as soon as you can. We've got registration open right now on our website, wischcheesemakers.org/events. You'll find it right there on the listing. And again, thank you so much for joining us today. We will be sure to send out a follow-up email by the end of the week with contact information and links to all of the resources that were mentioned today. Thanks so much to our presenters, Andrea from Center for Dairy Research, Adam from Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin, Rueben from UW River Falls, and Rebekah and Sara from WCMA. That's it for us this time. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out anytime. Otherwise, thank you so much and have a great afternoon, everyone.